Hold up, let's go. Somebody says, actually, the further down you go on Earth, the hotter it will get. I'll keep digging. If keep digging, you'll eventually end up at the Earth's core, which is a ball of magma. You'll burn if you get close. That's a lie. The center of the Earth's core is not hot. You're a fucking fool with your pants on the ground. The center of the core, the Earth's core, is not fucking hot.
According to scientists, the inner core of the planet is around 11,000 degrees Fahrenheit. But Tyra has evidence that apparently is going to prove all the scientists wrong and show us how the inner core of our planet is cold. Let's hear the evidence Tyra has to offer.
Let me do this. How many miles is it to the center of the Earth's core? Let's do this. I'm going to do it. Watch this. How many miles is it to the center of the Earth's core? Let's see. How many miles is it from Earth surface is the center core? 3,959 miles. 3,959 miles from Earth that we stand on to the center of the core of the Earth. 3,000, right? 3,959 miles. Let's round that to the nearest 100. It's 4,000 miles. If we dig 4,000 miles, we will reach the center of Earth's core. And if the center of Earth's core is as hot as everybody claims it to be, then that means that we wouldn't be able to stand on this Earth if it's as hot as y'all on the ground, if it's hot as y'all said it is.
The information Tyra looked up shows that the Earth is guesstimated to be about 4,000 miles deep. Now, we can't prove with any 100% certainty that it is 4,000 miles deep. They've used sonic waves to show that it's approximately that distance. We can't say down to the inch or even within a couple of miles that that's accurate, but we don't really need to know that it's 100% accurate to know that the core is filled with magma, that it is indeed hot. The crust of the Earth, as it says there, is 21 miles thick. That's going to be important. The deepest hole we've ever drilled is 12 kilometers, which is about seven and a half-ish miles. That's the deepest hole we've ever dug, according to this. So 21 miles thick is the Earth's crust. You have to look at it like insulation. If you look at a stove, the inside of a stove can range to about 500 degrees. The human body can take about 120, 115 degrees before we start feeling really life-threatening, detrimental effects from the heat. The thing about a stove is it contains all of the heat that's inside of it, or the majority of the heat that's inside of it, and cooks more efficiently that way and protects the people and things that are outside of the stove. It provides insulation. Someone like Tyra, who says that he does heating and ventilation and cooling, should understand what insulation is. You insulate wires, you insulate houses, you insulate different devices to keep things in and or out, whether that be cold in or cold out, or heat in or heat out, or electricity in. Insulation keeps things separate. It provides barriers. What the crust does is provide a barrier against the heat that's coming from the core of the Earth. Well, how do you know that there's heat at the core of the Earth? Okay, I can debate that. I can bring some facts, but first, let's hear what Tyra has to say on the matter.
The sun is 92.96 million miles from where we stand. 92 plus million miles away. We can feel the sun and the rays, the heat rays from the sun, 92.96 million miles from us. Right? This is called common sense. The center of the Earth's core is 3,959 miles away. We'll round it off to 4,000 miles. It's 4,000 miles away. If hell, which is the center of Earth beneath us, is as hot as what is claimed to be in the Bible, we would be able to feel it when we walk outside. Our brand new Jordans, our Nikes, our Pradas, our stilettos, would melt as soon as we go outside. If the hell, which y'all say is down below, as hot as y'all say it is, it's not. Common sense. This ain't talk to you in the book. This is called fucking common sense. This is called the God in me. Let's see how many light years the sun is, right, away from Earth. Because here's what I don't understand. This is called common sense. This is called common sense, right? If the center of the Earth's core is 3,000, from Earth to the center of the Earth's core is 3,959 miles, we'll just round it off to 4,000 miles. And the further we did, right? And for one, this bitch in my chat, OmniPoint, I remember them from a long time ago. OmniPoint says that the deeper you go, when you get close to the center of the Earth's core, it gets hotter and you'll burn, blah, blah, blah. That's a fucking lie. You never been there, have you? But what I do know is the center of the Earth's core is less than 4,000 miles from my feet. And I don't feel nothing but cold. Now, let's go here. How far... hold on, watch this. How many miles? Hold up. How many miles is the sun from Earth? And the sun is hot in the bitch. Now watch this. 92.96 million miles. Now, let's use common sense. We are standing on Earth itself, on the ground. And beneath our feet lies the center of the Earth's core, which is supposed to be the hottest, right? We are 3,959 miles from hell. We are 3,959 miles from hell. Why can't we feel hell when we go outside and put our feet on the ground? Because hell ain't down there.
Okay, Tyra uses Google to determine that the sun is 93 million miles away from the Earth, and he wonders why we can feel the heat of the sun more than we can feel the heat within the Earth. The answer to that is, again, pretty simple. It goes back to insulation again. The core of the planet is insulated by the crust that we stand on, and the sun has no insulation at all. However, the distance of the sun from the Earth is protecting us in part. Two things that will greatly diminish the effects of heat. One is your distance from that heat. Another thing is shade. And we have both of those in a way. The distance of 93 million miles reduces the effects of the 27 million degrees Fahrenheit that is guesstimated the sun can reach. And we have not only do we have clouds and atmosphere and an outer protective radiation belt protecting us from some of the radiation and heat waves that are coming in, we have that massive amount of distance between us. Otherwise, if we were much closer, we would definitely burn up. Look at the comparison here. We're talking about the center of the Earth being about 11,000 degrees Fahrenheit with insolation, and the sun being 93 million miles away and 27 million degrees Fahrenheit with very little to no protection. The void of space provides no shade. It's also not a very good conductor because there's almost nothing there. To conduct heat, you typically need some sort of a medium, whether it be metal, whether it be wood, even concrete will transfer some heat. Stones, rocks, and all that stuff in general will transfer some amounts of heat. But the Earth has that crust, has 21 miles of insulation. And yes, that insulation does conduct some heat, but over the course of the 21 miles, it is greatly reduced, thus enabling us to walk on its surface, and our Maybachs and Bentleys and Nikes and whatever else he said do not melt on contact with the pavement. Unless it's a really, really hot day outside, which can happen. Sometimes the sun's rays can heat up the pavement to such a point where your sneakers will melt or can start to melt. But if that's the case, then you're probably going to die well before your sneakers melt, because the human body can only resist for extended periods of time temperatures up to about 109, 110 degrees. More than that and you're in serious trouble, and I wouldn't really be worried about your sneakers. Again, shade and distance will save you in that scenario. But Tyra is not a believer in insulation, shade, distance, any of that stuff. So let's hear his further arguments.
Y'all ain't hearing me though. You stupid motherfuckers. Because you believe something that another man that walk, talk, breathe, eat, shit, and sleep like you, as well as put their pants on one leg at a time like you. You believe they bullshit, and you don't believe your own motherfucking instincts, internal instincts. You don't believe it? But I'm stupid. No, I'm not the stupid one. You are. Those of you who believe this bullshit, you are. None of us should be able to go outside. None of us should be able to fucking take our Maybachs, Bentleys, Cadillac trucks, Cadillac cars, what have you, Phantoms, Rolls Royces, all that other shit. Now one of us should be able to drive on a motherfucking concrete or asphalt road, because the heat rays from the less than 4,000 mile away hell should burn the motherfucking rubber off our shit to where we can't go no further. You motherfuckers are stupid. It's called common sense. And having common sense is not so common anymore. Facts.
If you want proof that the core of the Earth is hot and not cold, look no further than here. Volcanoes. Volcanoes push up hot magma, which becomes lava, to the surface of the planet. It comes from the core. If you go to Iceland and many other places around the world, you'll find hot springs. That's water naturally coming up from the ground, hot. No one boiled it. No one put it through a furnace or anything, or a boiler. It came up that way because the core is hot. It's water that's coming up from the deepest parts of the crust, being heated by the temperatures and the magma down there, and then making its way to the surface as hot water. If it were the way Tyra says it is, it would come up as cold water. You can find proof of this even in the ocean if you have a look at this right here.
Thermal vents are often associated with undersea volcanoes. This is because the vents are created and sustained by the heat of volcanic activity at tectonic plate boundaries found throughout the globe. At these locations, seawater seeps through the cracks in the seafloor and is heated by molten rock. This causes chemical reactions between the two, and the altered seawater becomes hydrothermal fluid. This hot fluid then jets back into the ocean, forming a hydrothermal vent.
video that you'll be looking at is large magma bubbles are about 3 feet across, and the bubbles are molten rock that are expanded under the pressure, the gas pressure of magmatic gas. And the magmatic gas, we presume, is mostly water, and when the water is under the magma, it's at magmatic temperatures, thousands of degrees, and when it's suddenly cooled by coming in contact with seawater, the bubble bursts. So what excites me the most about this volcanic eruption is that that on planet Earth, this is a process happening all the time, and yet we have never seen it happening in quite this way.
As was said in the previous 2 clips, water can make its way towards the core of the Earth, or towards the lower part of the crust. It can be heated by hot magma down there and make its way back up. This magma can also come up to the surface. It flows like liquid fire, quickly cooling. The cool parts raise to the top of the lava, and then become solid. This is what we're standing on. The Earth's crust was previously a liquid. The parts of it that cooled rose to the surface and hardened. That layer of hardened lava becomes rock, and we can stand on it. It's thick enough that it insulates us from all the heat that's within. I mean, this is a very simplistic explanation of it all, but so Tyra can get a grasp of it in his mind, this is what it is. It floats to the surface, and it's kind of like a cracker sitting in a bowl of soup. Underneath is this liquid base, and we're sitting on top of the cracker. The cracker is not burning. The soup, however, might be very hot. As you can see in this video here, after several days of the lava cooling and rising up to a certain height, this person is able to walk on it with his bare feet. He doesn't burn or anything. He has insulation and he has distance from the heat, making it semi-safe for him to walk on. So, in conclusion, the center of the Earth is indeed hot, I believe. And there are lots of facts and things you can point to throughout the world that would support that theory. Tyra believing that it's cold is just another instance of what he says he does to himself, and that's take everything that he's learned, dump it out like trash, and put new stuff in that he believes is correct. Unfortunately, he's dumping out all the good information and pouring in lots and lots of bad information and lies. There's really no cure for that. A person who chooses not to learn will not learn. And that's just the way the world works. He's allowed to walk around and think what he believes, no matter how incorrect. But the very results of his life prove that the bad information going in is doing him absolutely no good. I know a couple of people like him, and from time to time I do try and prove to them that the world is the way it is and not the way they think it is. I sometimes put together little experiments for them. Experiments like this. What you see here is an orange with a little stick popped into it. The stick is at an angle. The orange represents the Earth. The stick that's in it represents the axis that the Earth spins on. It doesn't spin straight, so to speak. It's tilted. This orange, if you look on the right side, is lit by a light source known as the sun for this particular experiment. The orange, the Earth, on the right side is experiencing summer on that side of the planet, or the orange, actually. The left side, that's on the dark side, that is experiencing its winter. Every 365 days, the dark side and the light side will switch places. The top half, well, not top half, the very top and the very bottom do not receive as much light as the rightmost point. Those are your polar poles. It's colder at the top and at the bottom because the exposure to the light source that we're calling the sun is more directed on the right-hand side. What does this prove? It proves two things. One, that seasons are because of the rotation of the planet. Your right side is your summer side, your left side is your winter side, that middle portion is fall. And every quarter, these points switch. These are your seasons. It also proves that the Earth is round and not flat. If you look at this next picture, same orange, same stick in it for an axis. I've changed the light source for a very specific reason. If you look behind our orange, or what for this purpose is the Earth, there is a circular piece of reflective material, or tinfoil. The light source, or the sun, shining on the orange, or the Earth, is blocking a portion of the light and stopping it from hitting that reflective source in the back, the tinfoil, or in this instance what we're going to call the moon. If you look at the Earth's shadow that it casts from the sun onto the moon, it creates a crescent moon. The moon is a reflective surface. When you see it in full, that's because the Earth is not in between the moon and the sun. It doesn't obstruct any of its light and you get a full moon. The whole portion of it that you can see is lit, kind of like the orange there. It's completely lit, completely round. If that were to move to the side, the reflective surface would be completely reflecting a round light back. But because it is partially obscured, you have your crescent moon. This only serves as proof that the Earth, again, is round. And that Poland Spring bottle on the left-hand side there, that proves that I was thirsty. It's just a bottle of water for this purpose. Science is not the answer for every question in life, but it can answer most of them. One question that science will probably never be able to answer is how you can fit so much stupid into one idiot. That the world will never understand.
Y'all really don't understand how deep my intelligence goes, do you?